This meeting of the School Board of Trustees, subject to the open meeting laws being recorded in accordance with section 2-2-301, 2-3-202, 2-3-203, and 2-3-214 MCA. All members of the board, staff, and public in attendance are advised that the public portions of the meeting will be recorded in both an audio and video format. Cameras and recording devices are placed throughout the meeting room to complete these recordings. Everyone in attendance is reminded to honor basic rules of decorum during the meeting and guidance associated with providing public comment as stated in policy 1420F. By remaining in the meeting, those present consent to being recorded and displayed in the footage that will be posted on the school district's website. Welcome, everybody. There'll be an opportunity for community comments and on-agenda items at the end. We'll go with the admin reports.
Okay, so West Side, they were able to celebrate Grandparents' Day the week of September 15th to the 18th. One thing that I like to highlight on those is they do a really good job of bringing people in from outside the community, and that was one thing we noted in the strategic plan. So we're making progress definitely on those. And then they also talked about homecoming week. There was a number of weeks as we did the board policies where we had Freedom Week and all of that also took place in September. So Central, they're getting their gifted and talented program up and running. That typically does about the end of the first quarter is kind of when that starts. And then 5th grade honor choir is something that's not necessarily new. Mrs. Sprackman actually used to do that when she was there when Lana took over. She didn't do that portion of it, so Mrs. Tharp has brought that back. So that's really good. They'll get out community and perform for some different opportunities. Middle school, one thing that they do have going right now, which I like, is they have designated time for interventions for all the students. So that's a time that they can take specifically what are the students struggling and they can work on that. That was kind of a big piece. And then looking at the minor discipline referrals, and I know Jordan's, and we've worked a little bit on kind of changing a little bit of the format of that, trying to get a little bit more teacher communication with parents when kids are written up with minor things as well. And then we're hoping that that can maybe start to reduce the number of slips that are given for certain things. So she's done a really great job taking the lead on that. And then their sports season wrapped up this last weekend and they started basketball and wrestling today. So they're rolling.
Out of the 143, is there any type of minor infraction that is outweighing the others?
Put you on the spot.
Not really. It's a wide variety. Anywhere from chewing gum to like inappropriate disruptions. So I'm trying to shore that up a little bit and maybe come up with a hierarchy of what we're writing up for.
Okay, yeah, because it always seems a lot, but
It does.
I know it used to be forgot a pencil.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then some of that's gone
A lot
away.
of stuff like that. So.
But I do think that, that was for me though, the feedback I was getting from parents when they would call in is they didn't feel that they were hearing about minor things when their kids had it, so then they were upset when they found out that they did and they didn't know. So I do think it's a good thing that we communicate with parents.
Oh, absolutely.
So, okay, high school, honestly, if you see Danny, I would give him big props. Homecoming was pretty awesome this year. He's had it the last couple of years, last 3 years, we tried to make it bigger for the whole district. I know like they purchased the t-shirts for the kids, having like the all district pep rally at the high school, and then the events that they have in between, like the beanbag tournaments and all of that. Like it was well run. I know he was stressed, but I thought that was probably one of the better homecomings we've had in quite a while. And then you can see they have their enrollment data on there. Our numbers, and I'll get to this a little bit later, we're a little off on our numbers with enrollment. One place I would take note on this, Mr. Dennis had noted, the 400 wing, they're having issues with the AC on that side and the system is pushing 20 years. So it's difficult to get parts for that. Probably something we may want to take a look at some point later on. And then the other one that's a little concerning is the sewer by the library is not hooked into city sewer. So it gets pumped, let's see, how did he have this here?
It's up over into the roof.
Right, so they go into a holding tank and they're pumped overhead to the main hallway by the 200 wing. They had what went out? They got a pump that went out, and that was not good. Brenda's awesome, but we had to buy her a new pair of shoes because that did not end well. So, yeah, so those are a couple, I mean, that one too, we really need to make sure that we don't have issues, cause that can just get difficult for.
What wing is that in?
That's over by the library.
It's right by the library. It's the new bathrooms that they put in, just like south of the library.
Yeah, in between like David McDonald's old room and the library right there. So, I'll work with Carl on that though to see what we can do to make sure that that's, I don't know what,
I just wonder where the sewer tie-in point is.
right,
You know, could we go out to the, is it the street like most?
right, or we have to go to the alley.
Yeah.
Should we go over the top?
It has to, yeah.
Doesn't sound right, but that's what it does.
So they put it in a holding tank and then they pump it over the top to get to the main sewer.
It's just a lift station.
Yeah.
So, something to keep in mind on that. Let's see, Tom's included, we had some different grants that he's always good at finding money. The MSGA golf grant to purchase golf equipment for Westside PE came. So I know we had some questions to some board members about why, you know, we were fundraising to purchase some of this stuff. Like, some of it is like unique things, it's not necessarily what we would budget for. And then they have the lacrosse grant, for Central PE, and I know that Katrina Johnson was maybe wanting to borrow some of that. She was excited about it anyway, so just a heads up on that.
How many Class A schools have lacrosse?
I don't know, I do know that the lady flag football is pretty popular now.
Right.
I've not heard in Montana of lacrosse though.
Missoula has lacrosse.
What's that?
Missoula plays lacrosse.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably your
That's
double
all.
A's maybe start to get into it. I think the problem you start to run into, and we can address this when it comes up, but if you take flag football on and lacrosse on, you're really watering things down
Right.
for all of your other activities
Do
as
they
well.
have it,
so.
or is it more of a club thing?
Probably a club.
I think it's a club thing. I haven't seen it as part of MHSA.
Okay, superintendent report. This is where our enrollment figures are messed up. So our IC ad hoc that we've been running, we think we found a place where it was double counting. So our enrollment's high, is actually been lower than what we thought. This was really surprising to me because 44 students is a lot, and that's a significant number. And then especially looking at the 26 at Westside. Part of that is the new literacy program. So it's named something different. We can't call it kindergarten anything. So I think some of the numbers are coming from there.
Yeah, we got the Jump Start program, there's 29 enrolled in that, and it shows up on there. Then you have the homeschool kids that do athletics, they
Yeah.
show up on the enrollment count also.
Okay.
So there's a few weird situations as to why that's low, but I wanna look into that more to see if we need to get accurate enrollment counts, so. Apologize for that, but I'll work with Tracy on that one and we'll get it figured out.
I was surprised to see in that article that Phil Johnson had, just the variance in the number of enrollment, or the enrollment figures of all Class A schools, and
Yeah, it's crazy. I look at it all the time.
you know, it's that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you go from the highest to the lowest, there's a big difference.
Right.
Well, 700 and some to like 130.
Yeah, well,
120.
Butte Central doesn't count because they've been told.
Yeah, that'd
They
be,
won't do it.
Billing Central's probably the same. They
Building
can't-
Central's usually closer to us now.
Are they?
Yeah, they're over 300 every year now, but yeah, you've got schools that are barely over 300 and then 700, but then double A's got schools that are at 1800 and schools that are 12, so it's the same. There's no good way to do it. Class B is the same way. You'll have schools with 180 and then schools with 60, you know, it's just.
Right, and plenty with jumping up and down, you know, and that's probably gonna be a trend for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, yeah, it's kinda crazy when you look at, you know, who's competing with who and what you have to pull from.
yeah, for sure. Okay, labor management met on Wednesday, September 24th. There was just one issue that came up. There was a scheduling issue, and really, Sherry worked on it, Sherry ironed out right away. So I think that some teachers had a lot more duty time than others, and it balanced out. I'm sure it figured that out. We'll meet again with that group Wednesday, October 29th. NEMAS, so we met Wednesday, October 1st in La Pointe. Biggest part of the discussion this month was professional development, what's happening in other schools. Then there was another pretty lengthy discussion about AI in schools and what we're basically gonna start seeing, because of this. There's some professional development, I think, going out from Billings School District is sending some teachers out for some professional development on how they're utilizing AI. A lot of it's just so new, so a lot of people are more concerned about cheating right now than using it for enhancing projects. I think at some point, it's inevitable, we'll have a class that would teach it. And I think we need to, so we can teach the students how to use it properly instead of just as a cheating type mechanism. So that'll be coming up. I mean, we'll just have to keep following that. I don't wanna be on the back end of it, but we don't necessarily have to be the very first to decide what we wanna do either. But I don't wanna be 5 years down the road and have nothing, so.
It's crazy how it's advancing and how fast it's advancing.
Yeah.
You know, you look at, even in my industry, what they're doing in that, you can just dump documents in and they will literally do everything for you.
Yeah, in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's much greater than ChatGPT.
It is, and that's the other thing, is a lot of people that don't really know about it, they just think of ChatGPT. And it's much more than that now. The other thing is, we had ways to figure out if students were using it to cheat. It's so advanced now that you can't really do that anymore. So, there goes that. And then this Ethan Ego from OPI, he comes to all of our meetings, but he did talk about what the accreditation requirements are gonna be this year. They're very minimum. Indian Ed for All is included in that. That was a major emphasis from OPI. And then civil rights data and some yearly IC reporting. So it shouldn't be too bad. Tom and I talked about it a little bit today. We'll probably have that. They actually already opened up the window, which is surprising. Normally they wait until January when it's due in February, so we should have that done here in the next month or two. Curriculum, Tom and I met September 27th to discuss district curriculum needs and resources. We just talked a lot about if we're buying a new reading program, we want our teachers to use it with fidelity, like they all need to be teaching the same thing, so we don't create gaps with our students. So that'll be kind of a big emphasis when we push that out going into next year.
Sorry, I just have a comment. It says we will still have different programs to use for targeted interventions with students, because I've had a teacher from Central actually who was concerned that we wouldn't be targeting the higher level readers anymore. She just was talking about the different AR programs and stuff that we've had in the past, but she was worried about some of her, the higher level readers getting bored with that reading program if we're teaching the lower level. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, and I guess the answer to that always is differentiation. Like if our teachers know they have higher level students, they should be giving them higher level thinking.
So
Or,
there's gonna be the opportunity for that still, I assume?
Well, and then the intervention time that they have, they use different programs, so that would be targeted for those students as well. But I agree, like we don't want to keep students just where they're at just because it's convenient. Like we have to keep pushing them to get better as well. But yeah, it's a good point, but it's also a good time for us to be doing the Atlas portion, so we can start putting in supplemental things where we know we have those students. And typically teachers know when they have, so it can be somewhat leveled to help that out too. But yeah, that's definitely on our radar as well. Okay, buildings and grounds. John Klinke told me a couple weeks ago that the particle board replacement was a couple weeks out, so I'll get a hold of him again. And then they did have to snake the sewer line. There's rocks that got filled into that when they did that cement project. The cap came off and the kids probably dumped rocks in there, so we have to get those, otherwise it's backing up our sewer. And then the admin building here, I'll be talking with you about a potential project for the HVAC here. School safety, I'm gonna work with Michelle Lambert to get order the door locks for the increased safety measures in the schools. I think we'll be ordering about 130 units at 85 per lock. The other thing that I wanna look into is they have the window safety film, so it makes it anti-shattering, or for the most part anti-shattering, to make it more difficult for people to get in that way.
Just through the outside? Like if there's a fire, they need to get out the window, can they shatter it to get out?
It would take time. Really all this does is it slows down the process. would probably look at doing it more like at your high school, middle school to start with. The other thing I looked at is you buy it in rolls, and you have to measure it, cut it, and then put it on. No different than the door locks, you have to measure each one individually and put them on, so I wanna make sure, hopefully this company will come out and install them as well when we purchase it. I think it came out to about $13,000 for the whole district. Threat assessments, we did
Sorry,
not
I have another comment.
Yep, you're good, go ahead, sorry.
Fairview uses an app for
Yes.
school safety?
Yep, I'm looking into that.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just gonna
downloaded one.
It's the
See.
E5 or 5E.
Or E3 or something like that.
Yeah,
Is that what it
something
was?
like that.
Yeah, they really liked it. I don't know, and I can see where it might get a little, I mean, if all the schools are connected and you have a false alarm that goes off or something, but they really liked it because it was like one source, and you could use it for fire drills and stuff too, where it's like, oh, Johnny's in the bathroom,
Mhm.
can somebody make sure, you know what I mean, or whatever, it just was one place for everybody in the school to be communicating, but.
Yes, and it also ties into your local fire department
Yeah.
and police.
Yeah.
So it looks like a pretty cool app, yeah.
And they were really happy, I mean, I was talking to a teacher, they were really happy with it.
The one drawback you end up with some of those is the teachers probably will have to download an app on their phone.
Yeah.
Because they did say, I don't remember what Darren Hammond said from Danville, but that's what they had to go to just because it was the only way they could actually communicate, so-and-so's out, and you can see it in real time. Okay. Insurance committee, so the information that I have on here, so we met, the insurance committee met on Wednesday, this last Wednesday. We didn't have a lot of information to give because we haven't gotten a ton of information from Bridged Alliance. It's Bridged Health Alliance that's leading the charge with the state pool. I have a meeting with John, is it Doran? He's the head of that. So I have a meeting with him this Wednesday at 9 o'clock. It'll be a virtual meeting. He's gonna give me an update of where they're at with that. My understanding is last month they talked to the AA to see who was gonna get involved. It sounds like almost all the AAs are on board. They're gonna have a different pool than the A's. And then the self-insured are gonna have a different pool. I mean, it's kind of turning into like different pools for different individuals.
The whole point was to have one pool.
That's what I thought, but, you know, so I truly just wanna know like, okay, first of all, we need to know what the benefits are, and then we need to know what the cost is. I mean, we don't wanna take a less coverage and pay the same, or even to take less coverage and pay less. Like, we have really good health insurance right now, so.
I'm really surprised that that's the way it's going. I've seen that system before and I'm involved in some products like that, and it just doesn't work when you start piecemealing those things out and
Mhm.
having different groups.
Right. It scares me a little bit.
Yeah, the lower end schools and the schools with more experience are gonna get hammered.
And that would include us probably.
And then you're gonna get stuck in it, and you're gonna end up paying whatever they tell you to pay.
Yeah, so I'm glad that he was willing to meet, and I just kinda wanna get an update to get some more details on that, because we can't really make a decision until we know what's going on with all of that, so. Okay. That's all I got. You wanna go consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, starting on page 16, that would be the meeting minutes from September 8th. Remember, we did have 2 meetings there, and then we also have meeting minutes from September 23rd, starting on page 21. Financial reports start on page 23. You have your cash balances on 23, and then you have your investment report, the breakdown of that on page 24 and 25. The general fund revenue received versus anticipated is on 26. The 2-month comparison through August of 25, that's on 27. And then the expenditures, the budget expenditures start on page 28. If you have any questions as I go through it, feel free. Starting on 30, that would be the check register.
The payment to B&B wasn't in installments, obviously. We just paid it in full when it was done,
Where's that one at?
like right at the top,
Second one down.
right?
Oh,
Right, C.
We did pay those in installments.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking that was.
Yeah, cause that was about a $900,000
Yes, that's right.
project.
Use it Black Mountain for payroll.
Yeah. And then you have your ASB. Check register, that one is on, starts on 33. And then we did have a couple transfer requests, 350 from account 139 trading cards to 204 middle school MBI. That makes sense, we don't do trading cards anymore.
What's MBI?
MBI would be, we just haven't renamed that, so it's the Montana Behavioral Institute. So that's what we used to use for all disciplines throughout the district. When Lisa Arnston took over OPI, it kind of went away. So now it's basically MTSS is what they call it, multi-tiered systems of support. So that includes your academic and your behavior stuff. So like West Side has a team for behavior and academics. West Central has the same, and now the middle school has the same. So that's how we cover those. But that'll go to pay for like incentives for students for good behavior and things like that. The other transfer was $25 from the high school student council to high school FCCLA for homecoming prizes, it looks like. And then on page 45, instead of copying off 14 pages for you to look at, that is an example of one of our TR1 forms. So this is the bus route, and then it gives you a breakdown of the number of students that are on there and from each of it, whether they're from elementary or the high school. So we can get reimbursement for these. There's 7 routes, but we have to approve the AM and the PM for each of those buses. And I can start the consent agenda whenever you are ready. Let's go. Okay. Approval of the minutes. All recorded board meeting minutes must be reviewed and approved at the following board meeting. As you review the meeting minutes, please make note of any additions or changes that need to be made. I recommend to approve the board meeting minutes for the board meeting on September 8th, 2025 and September 23rd, 2025 with any noted or necessary agreed upon changes. Warrants and claims in accordance with board policy 7326, all financial obligations and disbursements must be properly documented. The documentation must specifically describe the goods, services acquired, and the proper budget item for appropriation. I recommend to approve all claims, payments, and cancellations as presented. ASB accounts and transfers. In accordance with board policy 7425, the board of trustees should conduct a monthly review of the ASB account balances reported by the deputy fund custodian. Recommend to approve ASB balances, transfers, payments, and voided checks as presented above. Approval of TR1s. Each year the board must approve all routes and breakdown and the breakdown of students on each route for reimbursement. We have 14 routes between the AM and PM bus routes. I've given an example of the breakdown for these routes. A full breakdown of each route can be given upon request. I recommend the approval of the 14 bus routes for the 25-26 school year, and we did not have any new hires.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
Well, I can second it.
All right, we move in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So we can either continue on or we can move to our student report. I see that individual made it.
Go ahead. Come on.
Come on up. Don't lock your knees.
Okay, so I'm Graydon Sukit, and I'm this year's student council rep to the board. So for the first quarter report, start of the year, so the Link crew, they welcomed the freshman class in greatly appreciated air-conditioned gym to kick off the year. And the kids are working hard in the classroom after our newly updated eligibility/PEC policy, where we have seen success and school spirit is very high right now. Our fall sports teams are competing well and are bringing up the culture of the school environment. And so far, we're off to a great start to the 25-26 school year. So for the activities, the football team, they put in tons of hours this off season in the weight room and on the field, and it's really shown so far this season. The team is 6-1 after recently defeating the Lockwood Lions this past Friday, and now the Eagles are tied for first place in the conference with Billings Central Rams with a 3-0 start. This Friday will be the conference championship as we go to Billings and we play Billings Central. We secured a playoff spot for the first time since 2021, and we'll be hosting the 3 seed from the Central Division. We still have ways to go and know the work we have to put in to get there. We have 47 guys who come every day ready to work and get better, and we're excited to see how far we can go in the future. So like I said, we play Billings Central this Friday in Billings, and then next week on the 24th we travel to Hardin to take on the Bulldogs for our last regular season game. The volleyball team, they have been working hard to rebuild after losing 5 seniors last season, and they only have 2 seniors this year. So they have a lot of young talent and new players on varsity, which is an adjustment, but they're continuing to grow and improve and gain experience as the games go on. They are currently 2-6, and they're hoping to get some conference wins in the upcoming weeks. And this week on the 16th, they'll be hosting their pink night against Miles City, and then their last home game, senior night, is on October 25th. For the cross-country team, they have divisionals coming up in Billings and then state in Missoula left to compete. So their home meet is on the 11th. It was on the 11th this past weekend. The boys have 6 seniors, with the majority of them making up the varsity team, and the girls have 2 seniors with a lot of younger runners, including 2 8th graders who have been top 2 placing runners for varsity so far this year. And the team has made great progress and improvements and is hoping to place top 10 in state. For our golf team, they just wrapped up their season. They had a fantastic season, breaking team scoring records. The boys team was led by senior Brady Collins and Kalen Price, who both received all conference selections, and Collins, who also received an all-state selection. He's the first boy to do that in 7 years. And there's no hardware for the boys team this year, but a very successful season nonetheless. The girls were led by senior Izzy Beisch and junior McKenna Thiessen, with Beisch receiving all conference honors. Izzy had a breakthrough season, becoming the first girl in 5 years to receive an all-state selection. The girls had their ups and downs this year, but dealing with injuries and a lack of experience was expected. The cheer team this year has 8 ladies who show up to every home football and volleyball game and bring lots of energy. The team keeps the student sections engaged and comes up with new chants and cheers that the students love to do and help them participate. They have a pretty young team this year, as they only have 1 senior. The team looks forward to continuing to support the Eagles at every home event that they have. The drill team is absolutely killing it this season. They've already nailed 3 out of 5 routines, and the energy of practices is through the roof. The team has worked really hard after losing some key seniors and has been invited back to compete in both Williston and Mandan again. Their squad of 9 dancers is super strong, with Brooklyn Romo and Kenna Sparks leading the charge as lieutenants, and Madison Cap and Cody Zawani as captains. The band is really busy, and they're thriving with the incoming freshman class with over 15 of them and a senior class of over 20. Ms. Sutton's very excited about the experience and the skill of the band this year. Recently, the band had a very busy homecoming week, playing at Coronation, the pep assembly, the volleyball and football games, and the marching in the parade as well. They also performed in their Daft Punk halftime show at the football game, which they worked very hard to memorize and prepare. They're having a 6th through 12th grade video game themed fall concert tonight at the high school at 6 p.m. In the future, they're looking forward to a Northwest Music Festival in Minot that a few students are auditioning for, and the District 11 Music Festival in Glendive. Most notably this year, the band will be hosting the Eastern A Festival this February. This is a very big event for the band, where nearly every Eastern A school comes, and they split all the players into 3 bands and rehearse all together for 2 days. On the last day, there will be a large concert at the high school to hear what the kids have been working on with the guest conductors. So the STD, Speech, Drama, and Debate, held their first official meeting this past week. The team had about 30 members this year. They've already been hard at work making cases, speeches, and memorizing scripts. Their first competition will be Saturday, November 1st, and that will be in Sidney. The Drama Club, the first weekend of October, the Drama Club put on Just Another High School Play. 21 students, directed by Mrs. Slade, spent just over a month preparing for the production, which they also performed for the middle school students. And their next production is still to be decided, but is planning to be in the spring. For homecoming was this year was very successful, and the student council believes it was enjoyed by the students. We tried to make dress-up days simpler to provide more participation around the school, which was successful. We hosted our 2nd annual cornhole tournament, where we had 45 teams, and Cole Fink donated very nice cornhole boards for the winners. The pep assembly went smoothly, and we were able to have the whole district there again, which is a tradition we'd like to continue. The Link crew bought and pressed shirts for each student in the district, which is a great way to show school spirit and unity throughout the schools. This year we changed the location of the bonfire to Tony Hansen's land, where we were able to have a very large bonfire, and the students seem to love that, and we're hoping to continue that in the future. Recently, we have been working to get feedback from teachers and students through high school advisory to figure out how we can improve homecoming for next year. So now to clubs. Leo Club, they started volunteering and fundraising. Members of Leo Club helped out with the color run, and they've also been collecting and sorting donated eyeglasses. Some members have also gone to meet with the Lions Club during lunch. They hope to have even stronger connection to the Lions Club this year, and are also trying to integrate Leo Club into the middle school and elementary schools so that younger students can get involved early. They were planning on running they were going to do the Pieing the Teacher event during homecoming, but not enough students donated to their advisory classrooms, so they were not able to do that this year, which hopefully we can next year. So Key Club, the Key Club meets once a month to discuss volunteer opportunities and what they're doing throughout the school. This year, Key Club has had a tremendous amount of new members coming out to meetings, and they currently have 44 official members, which is the most in the state, with more to come as they're due next month. So far this year in the school, they have made and handed out freshman welcome bags and supplied an ongoing bake sale, and in the community they have volunteered the Color Run, the Out of Darkness Walk, the Boys and Girls Club, the Foundation Golf Scramble, and a Kiwanis dinner. Key Club has many volunteer opportunities lined up in the next few months, and they are hoping to send a few kids to the youth convention in November. APC, American Politics Club, hosted in Mr. Falber's room every other Tuesday night. They've been getting together and debating over national and international issues happening in our world. Some of their main debates are over the Charlie Kirk incident and the Ukrainian woman stabbed on subway. This year, there has been large numbers at each meeting, leading to good debates and topics to go over. For a close-up, they had the choice to go to Washington, D.C. or Helena this year, but the members chose to go to D.C. So with this, the members are hosting the annual Powder Puff game here in a few weeks as part of the fundraising for that trip, and also bumping up the price this year to $50 per player. Their club will keep fundraising for the trip as the year progresses, and they also have another big one is the Green Puff game and the senior versus staff basketball game. International Club. The International Club kicked off its year last month with senior Audrey Oprika presenting about her experience as a foreign exchange student in Poland, and being that she was born and raised in Jamaica, sophomore Brandon Knight is presenting tonight about her home country. Next month, our foreign exchange student from Finland, Ava Laxonen, will be presenting. FCCLA is off to a strong start. They hold bi-weekly meetings. The Morning Grind Eagle Espresso, or the McGee, is doing well with new members participating in that fundraiser. This month, they're also doing their Fun Pasta fundraising. An upcoming project this year is titled Vision Zero. So it's where the Richland County Health Department is helping the club create an event raising awareness to achieve zero traffic fatalities relating to texting or substance abuse. And FCCLA they've gained many new members, specifically in the freshman class, causing them to be the biggest club in their district within the state of Montana. The whole club heads to their district-wide meeting in November. Sidney's FFA chapter started out the school year by hosting the Big Muddy District Leadership School. They had over 200 members attend from our district of the 16 chapters. October has been a great month with the varsity and JV livestock teams both taking first place in districts qualifying them for state. And the Vet Science, it's a brand new team. They placed 9th, earning alternate for state. They're looking forward to the rest of their career development events and know that it's going to be a record-breaking year. So NHS, National Honor Society, meets in the morning on the first Tuesday of every month. So far, they've elected new officers, taken talent shifts, and started the after-school tutoring. They also have NHS kids who tutor during their study halls throughout the day. The NHS is looking forward to continuing to plan their Dollars for Scholars donation that will take place in January. The Talent Times. So this year we decided to bring back the school newspaper known as the Talent Times. And so far they've worked on setting up and organizing the club, as well as working on getting their first issue finished and printed. Those who've been joined marked what they're interested in, and they've assigned categories and sections based on that. Members have started writing articles for the first issue, which they hope to publish by the end of this week. It will be basically a summary of what happened this past quarter and what students have to look forward to for the fall/second quarter. Some topics covers are sports, clubs, the arts, and just general news at SHS. Our esports team, the fall season has started, and they're competing in it's called Play V's League. So the league consists of teams located in the Mountain Time Zone. The Overwatch team, they're ranked 12th out of 80 plus teams with a record of 4-1. The Rocket League team is 2-2. They're ranked 26th, and the Super Smash is 2-1, ranked 13th. So the Montana season, it'll begin in January, and esports has just a little over 15 members right now. So student council has been very busy with homecoming in recent weeks. We planned and facilitated the cornhole tournament, dress up days, and lots of scheduling and other various duties throughout the week. The council is currently working on coming up with goals and gaining some community feedback to decide what our major objectives will be for the year. Recently, we have created a digital suggestion box to get more student feedback on what students, like what they think about student council and what should be on the agendas. Last year, we worked hard on coming up with an eligibility policy that would align with what we think the standards should be at the school, and we are hoping to define other school standards as well. We're also looking to order school branding within the next few weeks, including rugs, backdrops, flags, and decals. We have the funds to do so from the cornhole tournament and other fundraisers, and the FCC LA Club and schools approached us about also helping us with the funding. And we've been active on posting on the Sidney Eagle Spirit Instagram page, which is run by student council members and contains updates on game themes, times, results, and overall school spirit. So this upcoming events, we have Powder Puff game will be Saturday, November 1st. The football game will be at Billings Central on Friday. Volleyball Pink Night is on Thursday versus Miles City. And speech, drama, and debate will host their home meet on November 1st. And the band has their video game themed concert tonight at 6. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Who won the cornhole tournament?
Well, the students, it was me and Jackson Burton.
No, who won?
Sally Hinckley and Jacob. They're back to back, by the way. So, yeah.
Thank you.
November 1st will be a very busy day. November 1st. Well, it'll be at night. So that'll be fun.
I'll see you get there. Okay, I've got one policy that I want to look at. We don't have to do it this way if you don't want to, but I think that this would make this process more efficient. So if you look at board policy 1310, this is basically the one that says you have to have 2 readings before you can adopt the policy. So if you look at the first 2 options, they keep those in play, you'd still have that. If you look at the third option, it just says the final vote for adoption may take place immediately following a single reading and discussion of the particular policy. So I would like to adopt this way, especially for the policies that they're such minor changes. It's nice to not just spend more time on those. If we have questions about things we want to do in policies, we can always table those individually and bring them back to the next meeting after we have discussion at the board meeting. Speaking of which, I do know we wanted to talk to you about that one other policy. It's not on here, but the Narcan thing. I just wanted to give an update to this group on that, because I did ask the NEMAS group. It got brought up, and it was more on the inhaler side, and I was kind of surprised a lot of them didn't adopt the inhaler, but they did. They already had the Narcan in their schools. So Tim Clark said that they even have them on a ballot. So it was, to me, it was good feedback, because it sounds like a lot of people they already have them or they've already had them. So it's probably something that we can go back and look at if we want to change the wording on it. I mean, the other thing is we don't necessarily, it's not something that would have to be in board policy. We could just have it. I mean, there's that option too. So we can't vote on that.
You see that from the county aspect too. So all of the county buildings and throughout the state, there was a tremendous amount of discussion regarding Narcan when it first came out, and there was really no definitive, policy that was put in place. Everybody had already had it, so it really didn't gain much momentum on that standpoint.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of research on it just to kind of see. It sounds like it's really not very dangerous even to administer, and the training that I found for it was like a 2-minute video training. So it wouldn't be hard for us to do it, and I think if we do decide to do that, I want to do a training at the next half-day Fridays. They take 2 minutes, all of our teachers can be trained, and we can move forward with it. So. Okay, back to this one. So again, I think it makes sense to go with option 3, especially with how I think how efficient we go through the policies. Anyway. So, I guess my recommendation is to approve the first reading of board policy 1310 with all noted and agreed upon changes.
What's the downside? I mean, just,
I think that I would be hesitant to do this, and I'm not just saying this because we're here, I would be hesitant to do this if you had a board that, you would maybe be concerned about them making a kind of a rash decision on policy, right? If we're split and you know, like your vote you could maybe make a not good decision just in one vote. So to me, the way that we go through our board policies, this makes a lot of sense.
I don't know as though that the past years that I've been on this board, there's really been a policy that has been confrontational.
Right.
No, there's only been probably less than a handful in 9 years where we even had something to discuss the second time.
Right.
And we can still do that, obviously, so if there is a question, we can table it. And it won't affect anything, cause then we can approve it the next meeting anyway, so, yeah, I don't see a downfall to this.
how often has there been like community input on any board policies?
Very,
Uh,
very little.
Yeah.
That was my only thing, cause it's like, if you don't post the agenda till Friday, and then, you know, you're meeting Monday, and nobody's really talked about it or hasn't seen it or
Right.
something, that was my only concern, I guess.
It's just one of those things, like, oddly enough, since I've been in this position, we have not had a single parent come to do anything with board policies.
Yeah, no, since I've been here, we haven't, and even in that case, you know, we have the ability to add anything to the next board meeting that we want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of it, so if we pass something and community strongly doesn't like it, you know, we can revisit it the next board meeting anyways. So, it's not like once you approve it, it's locked in for a year or 2 years, so.
Yeah.
So, you still have we haven't had an issue with it, and we have the capability of tabling it for a month anyways, which we've done.
Mhm.
So, I don't see any reason to go through them twice.
The only thing that I can remember was possibly extracurricular for homeschooled students.
Yeah.
Was
We
the
did have
only
that.
thing that really had any.
That might have actually been all the way back to, it was either Monty or Dan.
Yeah, no, it was Monty,
It was Monty, and that was, yeah.
cause that was when,
Short
Jack was
school.
in middle school then,
Yeah.
cause it was kids his age
Yeah.
that wanted to.
But that was it, so,
And that was a big one.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So do I have a motion to approve first reading of board policy 1310 with all noted and agreed upon changes and options? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
and ironically, we have to have a second reading for that one. Okay, so this next one is, so we're having issues over here with our HVAC, and we have had, and you've noticed that since even this last summer. So in August, it was like 85 degrees in here. This morning when I came in, it was like 62 degrees in here. Brenda did work with Agra, they got one of the boilers fired up, they weren't able to get the other one going. So it's just it's been an ongoing thing, we've had this discussion for quite a while. So, just quick history, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we had the COVID funds that you could use for HVAC, McKinstry Engineering came in, thought that it was gonna be like a $500,000 project, ended up being like a $1.2 million project. So I spoke with Core on this. They're the company that owns the program that we have currently. So he went through, and basically what they're looking at doing is they're gonna keep some existing and then bring in some new, because like what we have on the roof is from the 60s, so you wouldn't be able to, you have to fix it, you can't even get a new one. So, anyway, so this is kind of what I thought he did a nice job of laying this out. I'm not a plumber, I don't know a ton about HVAC, so some of this stuff is a little foreign, but it's pretty basic as you kind of go through it. It's not just going to address the heating, it would also address the cooling side of it as well. It would be worth noting for sure, when you get into the detailed scope of work, the demo, so they'd start with the demo, and then the reuse of existing systems, that would be the boilers, existing pumps and accessories where possible. The zone controllers for existing zones, the building controllers, front end, includes a 3-year software maintenance agreement, and existing ductwork. The ductwork, I think, was the big hang-up on the last one, and the zones here are kinda weird. You can see the new airside equipment that has pictures. And then the rationale, honestly, is just, we just need to get something going in this building. What were some other sections I wanted to highlight on this? Oh, there is an option in here, if you look on page 53, so this is kind of an important one, I think. So your option A would be just your temperature sensor, with a set point control. So that means that I don't even think we would have to get a hold of them to change the set point if we were having issues with it getting too hot or too cold. But if you go to option B, that would give each individual office the ability to mess with their thermostat for their own comfort. It's an extra $5,500. I think it would be worth it, so we're not having to call Core to change the set points. But I also am working in this building. So.
I think it would be worth it too.
Yeah.
And then they would use, it sounded like they would be using local electrical, for the project as well. So, long story short, we have to kind of get down to the important question, how much is it? After everything came out, before the $5,500, if we were to do this, it came out to $167,919.17, which is about $1 million less than the last project that we had estimated. I hate the fact that we're dumping money into this building after we purchased it, 7 years ago, but at the same time, it has definitely benefited the district, especially when you start looking at alternative education in the basement. I think that's been a huge benefit just itself. So, I would recommend to go through with the project. If we do that, since we're so close to wintertime, well, I shouldn't say wintertime, but we're starting to feel the mornings are getting cooler and whatnot. I would recommend that we go through an emergency resolution, so we're not like waiting in wintertime if something does go out, especially since we have students in the building. I mean, we could relocate if we had to, but having the students in the building, I think that this would constitute an emergency and we could just run it through that resolution, and then Core would be able to just come in and do their thing. They did have a time frame on it too. That was on page 54, the implementation plan and schedule. The coordination was 1 to 2 weeks, equipment 3 to 5 weeks. I think that's light, but that's what they had, and then site prep. So they're hoping to get to it pretty fairly quickly as well, if we're able to. So, I guess what I'll do is I'm gonna go through the emergency resolution, and then I'll make a recommendation and add the resolution along with the project. If that would help, that way I don't wanna miss anything when we go through this.
Yep.
So emergency resolution for the admin building HVAC, so pursuant to section 20-3-322, the trustees of a school district may declare an unforeseen emergency if the unforeseen destruction or impairment of the school district property would affect the health and safety of employees and students in the district. In 2023, we looked at the complete HVAC replacement of the admin building due to leftover funds. I've already explained this part, so I'll skip that. Core Controls owns the rights to the program that runs the system. Chad Marks, account manager, has come up with a plan for a long-term solution at a cost-effective rate. As we near the winter months, we'll not have time to go to bid and have another company order the parts and get the system upgraded to a level that would get the system through the winter and also offer a long-term efficient solution to it running at a high level. The current system is running at a level that barely makes it through most days. It's extremely cold in the mornings and can be abnormally warm in the afternoon depending on the temperature outside. Temporary shutdown of the HVAC system has created an unforeseen emergency that affects the health and safety of the trustees, students, and district employees, and the educational functions of the district, which I think is key to the emergency declaration. I recommend to authorize the superintendent to take necessary action to repair the affected facilities in accordance with section 20-9-204, along with 20-3-322, and approve the emergency resolution to hire core controls to repair the above-named section HVAC system at the administration building. So actually, the recommendation wasn't there.
Yep. Do I have a motion?
Long-term solution being what, 5 years, 10 years, forever?
I think that this will be closer to like your 10 to 15.
Okay.
I mean, for sure. Because the problem is it's still an old system.
Right.
But this would upgrade a lot of it, and the boilers, they say, are still in really good condition. So I think that this could be a lot more long-term than what one would think.
What do we pay for this building?
I think we paid,
300?
I thought it was 300,000.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Is it worth?
Well, at least 1.5 million, I would think. No. It's probably,
Well, being that it's sat on the market for years, it's worth nothing. That's the unfortunate part.
yeah, I don't know if we'd be able to sell it if we got to that. I mean, it'd be tough.
It'd be hard.
It's tough because there's no parking, and that was the issue with the bank. And that was the issue with anybody else that was looking to utilize it. You know, another bank could have utilized it, but, you know, I know that there was heartburn with some people that said, you know, why take another, you know, why turn an admin or a building into an admin building when you're in a retail space downtown, so, but it's just not conducive for anything other than the bank, and that was specifically stipulated that there would be no other financial institution that would come in, so. I would make the motion to approve the emergency resolution.
Do we wanna add the additional 5,500?
Yes. Or with option A or B, with option B. So my recommendation would be with option B.
With option B. It's never gonna get any cheaper,
No.
and we've been talking about this since we bought it,
Yeah.
and we knew it was coming.
Yep. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so on page 61, that's the start of our snow removal contract with Wayne Pipeline. So they've agreed to do snow removal for the 25-26 school year. The prices for services per building are the same as last year. The proposed contract for this year remains at $3,300 per event if they do every single building. This includes the price for all buildings. The breakdown per building was included with the contract. During the 23-24 school year, the district spent $57,160 from December 21st through March 16th. Last year, we spent $13,800 for snow removal from November 21st through February 28th. So I'd recommend to approve the contract from Wayne Pipeline Services for the snow removal for the 25-26 school year, and as presented.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Do I have a second? Alex second. Any further discussion?
I'll give you a subcontract agreement to use, okay?
Okay. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, starting on 67, this would be the letter that we would need to send if we agree to the next. So on September 9th, 2024, the Board of Trustees voted to approve a multi-district cooperative agreement to allow the transfer of funds from the high school flex to the elementary flex fund. This is due to the purchase of curriculum materials, summer school costs, and an unforeseen decrease in oil and gas funds. This year we have a continued decrease in oil and gas funds. I'll continue to look at ways to cut costs of the elementary budget. We're looking at all aspects of the elementary budget to find where the majority of the spending is from. Last year we transferred $1 million from the high school to the elementary. We're requesting to move $500,000 from the high school fund 229 to the interlocal fund 182 for the 25-26 school year. Recommend to approve moving $500,000 from the high school fund to the interlocal fund.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Randy's not here, everybody's out. Alright, any other discussion?
Where did how come we transferred twice as much last year as this year? I mean, that's just how it worked out, or did we cut?
We
cut
still
that
have a
much?
little leftover from last year. And this year, we're moving the custodial supplies from the general fund to the interlocal fund to try to keep the salaries in the general fund.
So we're really pushing to get all of our salaries out of flex fund, cause that is all just extra. So if something were to happen, we had no oil and gas at all, we would still be able to operate, which it's how we it's how we should have been doing it all along, honestly. So we're trying to get all that done, and we've made a lot of movement towards that, but it's challenging.
And our oil and gas money was way down this first.
I just didn't know, I was just curious if it, like, something got cut, or like, why the budget was lower or whatever, but.
And we're just trying not to take all of Carl's money.
Wow, he's not even doing the thing.
I hope you heard that on the video, that I'm trying not to take all of his money.
Alright, any further discussion? Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, last thing, we have the 25-26 disposal of obsolete property. According to policy 7251, disposal of school district property without a vote, the board is authorized to dispose of a site, building, or any other real or personal property of the district that is or is about to become abandoned, obsolete, undesirable, or unsuitable for school purposes. The trustees must pass a resolution stating their decision to dispose of property, and the resolution becomes effective 14 days after advertising notice to dispose of the listed property. A taxpayer may appeal the resolution at any time prior to the effective date of the resolution. Recommend to approve the 25-26 obsolete property resolution.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion?
This is basically just, we're selling, the tech department has some obsolete things that we wanna try to sell before we take them to e-waste.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anyone else have anything? Students, could you make sure you sign in over here before you leave, so we have record of who's here? It's in that entryway, it's that little desk there.
And then we can sign your sheet too before you go.
Can we start on that, looking at solutions for that sewer in high school?
Yeah.
You might even talk to Wayne to see whether or not what the price for boring is, to see if you can bore into that.
Right. I can't believe that we didn't tie into sewer when we did it. I'd have been,
There's gotta be a reason.
right.
Maybe we can tear up that road for the third time in like 5 years, I think that's.
I'm just surprised we're going over the top. When
Yeah.
that thing starts to leak, it's
Yeah.
a bad day.
Yeah.
And you said it smells in there.
Yeah, it has forever, yeah.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Where I go